If in the first act you have hung a pistol on the wall, then in the following one it should be fired. Otherwise, don't put it there. That quotation from Russian playwright Anton Chekhov is a fantastic bit of advice about the nature of descriptive elements in narrative art forms. But as anyone who's sat through a Quentin Tarantino film in the past decade can tell you, it's not always so well adhered to. Still, I think Die Hard is an outstanding example, one of the best in film, of how this approach can work brilliantly. Just so many examples. I mean, very nearly the first lines, "Walk around on the rug barefoot," which our hero then follows, "Son of a bitch," and which then are further drilled home just after Tony's death,
9 million terrorists in the world and I gotta kill one with feet smaller than my sister.
And then again when he's bantering with Dwayne T. Robinson,
"Glass? Who gives a shit about glass?"
And finally, in the first moment Hans Gruber meets up with John McClane. All those set up this famous glass shooting sequence that brings our hero to arguably his lowest point. Remember when Holly and McClane first meet?
Show him the watch.
And Ellis mentions a Rolex?
It's a Rolex. I'm sure I'll see you later.
Yeah, you will, John, when you're unclipping it from Holly's wrist, sending Hans falling to his death. More to discuss here, but later. Much more of Chekhov to get through. You know that wounded masculinity we all felt as McClane realizes his wife is now using her maiden name?
Christ.
A lot to unpack there too, but the primary payoff is when they exit the tower together and have this introduction with Al Powell.
My wife, Holly Gennaro.
Holly McClane.
Speaking of Al, remember when he has that heart-to-heart about his past with John?
Anyway, I just couldn't bring myself to draw my gun on anybody again.
Yeah, you better believe that one's coming back, but first, let's go back to the end of the Carl fight, where the bad guy seems to be dead, but then we get this shot of him hanging in the foreground as the hostages escape. Going back to the film's denouement, and it's Carl reappearing to take revenge, but then gunshots. From whom? Al Powell. Yes, it's a full-on double Chekhov all the way across the screen, extra bonus for involving the firing of an actual gun. Tough to top that, but here's McClane, casually scoping out the cameras in the lobby. Oh hey, now Theo can totally use them to undermine the LAPD's attack.
The police have themselves an RV.
And it's not just visual. Back to McClane in the limo, Argyle puts on Run DMC's Christmas Time in Hollis, but John doesn't recognize it.
You got any Christmas music?
When Powell, the only character in the film to whom McClane can effectively relate, first appears, what's he doing? Why, humming Let It Snow, a classic Christmas carol.
The weather outside is frightful.
Here it is again as Powell's about to leave, having been convinced that nothing's wrong at the plaza, and just before the body drop that really begins his relationship with McClane. And after his moment of heroism in a blizzard of falling papers, what's our outro?
Oh, the weather outside is frightful.
Jumping back again as John escapes the terrorists, here's an extremely brightly lit sign describing circuit breaker resets, and dang, it looks complicated. Will that become important?
The electromagnetic seal. You do understand the circuits cannot be cut locally.
Was there really ever any doubt? Actually, let's hang around the Nakatomi Vault for a moment. What's that playing? The low basso strum of Ode to Joy? You remember when Hans hummed that earlier? And when they finally crack the vault, what happens?
Merry Christmas.
It's a theme that runs central to Die Hard in more ways than one, but we'll get to that tomorrow. Until next time, I'm Cosmo Catalano. Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.